Hello everybody! Today I want to talk about the random dungeon finder in World of Warcraft and what it should have been instead of the monster that it became. Let's go back to Wrath of the Lich King, the expansion where the game was at its highest in terms of subscription numbers and everything seemed almost perfect, but there was a new feature that was very controversial: the random dungeon finder. No longer did you have to form a group yourself through a community or by typing in general chat to go into a dungeon. All you had to do was hit a few buttons, and suddenly you were in a queue for a normal or heroic dungeon. The negative aspects of the system are in the name. It's random. The introduction of heroic dungeons in the Burning Crusade made the need for community at endgame dungeons actually important, since the dungeons were fairly difficult. However, with RDF and the fact that heroic dungeons were a bit easier in Wrath, no community was required to experience this form of endgame anymore. Luckily, raids remained spared from this ease of accessibility. Now, to give Blizzard some credit, I don't think that a random dungeon finder itself is a terrible idea for every scenario. The real goal of a dungeon finder should be to make the past content relevant during leveling. When Dungeon Finder was introduced in Wrath of the Lich King, the ability to find vanilla and Burning Crusade dungeon groups was good in my opinion. This was because groups were more difficult to find since most of the community was at the current endgame. And the use of Dungeon Finder should be used for every single expansion prior to the current one. I also think Dungeon Finder is a great way to do special events, such as the holiday-specific dungeon scenarios like the Headless Horseman from Hollow's End or Corn Diaroo from Brewfest. Time Walking is another good use of RDF to grind out the Time Warp badges and to fail get the Infinite Timereaver for the 1000th time. The problem with Random Dungeon Finder is that it's applied heavily to the current expansion, where the community is concentrated and the endgame content should be community-focused. In the name of accessibility for casual players, the world in World of Warcraft was being removed. Having RDF for the current expansion removes the need for community to experience that form of endgame content. The problem with Random Dungeon Finder when it was introduced in Wrath was soon expounded with the introduction of Looking for Raid at the end of Cataclysm. The destruction of experiencing current dungeons as a community was bad, but the feel of endgame WoW remained intact. However, the introduction of Looking for Raid with the release of Dragon Soul, players can now just click a button and experience the most important endgame content in the game, without ever having to have a meaningful interaction with another player. Although the gear from LFR is lower item level than any other raid difficulty, a player can now complete the current patch in terms of killing every single boss in that raid tier without joining a guild or pugging it by interacting with the community in trade chat or general chat. With LFR, the world of Warcraft lost its meaning, and the importance of an in-game community felt like a hollow shell of its former self. The question is, can this problem be reversed and fixed? If Blizzard removed RDF from the current game and trashed LFR entirely, I personally think that the community aspect of the game would increase again. But the problem is that since these systems are so deeply entwined with the game now, RDF has been in the game for over 12 years, and LFR has been in the game for over 10 years now. There will be complaints from those who don't remember or didn't experience the game before the introduction of RDF, or who have grown comfortable with the idea of just being able to easily queue for dungeons at the cost of community interactions. That's my point of view on the Random Dungeon Finder and Looking for Raid systems. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Give this video a like, and until next time, later.